Sit there and say that he's going to blame them for being part of the problem. Are you shitting me?
That's a little much.
I didn't like that. I don't want to hear that crap from you, coach. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, you're thumbing your nose at everything about college football right now. And I get it that not everybody's ready to freaking turn the page. It's time to turn it. It's time to turn it. You are allowing your program to go down the shitter because you're digging your heels in and thumping your Bible and doing. I don't want to hear that crap. You're getting paid millions to run this thing into the ground now. Let's go! Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. And if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame college football. Folks, it is Okie Light Hate Week. That's right, the final bedlam, at least for the foreseeable future. And we are back in the house for our Tuesday live stream. Coach will be along here in just a bit. He is with his grandson doing Halloween things. So he'll be jumping in here in just a bit. Welcome to the show, everybody.
I tell you what, I still go back and say Narduzzi teams have always been tough, hard-nosed football teams that get after your ass. And, it didn't happen this last weekend. But, hell, it's been a crazy year, guys. I wish we were already in that because I was looking at the rankings from the committee. And hell, we're sitting way down there. I think
I didn't even do that.
Number 15, and
I'm a little shocked by that.
Ohio State at number 1.
That's confusing.
If we play, if we have a damn nose or a defensive tackle in the game, Ohio State, we beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
Because all we would have had to have was a dead body at tackle, and we would have won the game. But so it really leads you to look at it and say, wow, this year, I mean, is the gap that close between 1 and 15?
Yeah.
That anybody can beat anybody?
I think it is. I think it kind of is, man.
I agree. I agree. I think it's that close. It's unfortunate that we don't have the 12-team playoff this year, because I think this would be the year for it. We'll see. But that Narduzzi stuff, guys, I respect him as a coach and respect
he's one of my favorite coaches out there, man.
I agree. And I'm telling you, he's a no-nonsense kind of guy. And obviously I like those kinds of guys. Mm-hmm. He doesn't fill you a line of bullshit. And he tells it the way it is. And I like that about him. And I like I said, Notre Dame, we just got on a roll on Saturday. And you know what that's like, guys. Hell, we felt the same thing against Louisville. I mean, hell, they were on a roll and we couldn't slow the freight train down. And when those days happen, they happen, and there's nothing you can do.
They do. I agree. Okay.
Funny, we were also talking about Dabo Swinney and his comments, recently, because one that there was a very nosy kid that called into his show last night. Let me tell you.
Wow.
That audio footage from that kid. I mean, I don't know. I say kid, it could be an older gentleman too. Who knows? But I'll tell you what. It was a matter of time until someone spoke up like that, until someone said something, because you can't. First off, Dabo turned Clemson from nothing. I think people forget.
Sit there and say that he's going to blame them for being part of the problem. Are you shitting me?
that's a little much.
I didn't like that. I don't want to hear that crap from you, coach. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, you're thumbing your nose at everything about college football right now. And I get it that not everybody's ready to freaking turn the page. It's time to turn it. It's time to turn it. You are allowing your program to go down the shitter because you're digging your heels in and thumping your Bible and doing. I don't want to hear that crap. You're getting paid millions to run this thing into the ground now.
Well, and you know, guys, and I said this last week when we were talking a little bit about Dabo and you know, guys, you know, he took this program from crap to building it to where he did. But you have to keep up with the times, and the times are changing, and good grief, they're changing quickly.
Man, exactly. And that's it for him to go at that guy. Now, was it wrong for him to call into the show like that? Probably. You know, it's a little much, but there's going to be trolls out there. And you know what? You're opening yourself up to calls on your coach's show, and you've lost, what, 2 in a row for the first time in forever?
Guys, if you're going to be on a show,
that's right,
then be prepared for the good, but be prepared for the bad. And
sure.
you've got to be able to answer all those things fairly even keeled, you know, because at the end of the day, and you know what, sometimes those kinds of statements piss us off as coaches, because
sure,
I don't know the damn thing's true. You know it's true.
For that part. Yeah,
you know it's true a little bit.
Well, look, coach, and I'm not saying that I don't understand that why he would get pissy at all. I would piss me off too. I get it. You know what I mean? I get that. And look, he's under fire, and so he's not in a great mood. I get this. You know,
but you know, guys, in the coaching world, there's same thing. There's both sides to that equation. Well, you know what? There for a while, they're you know, you are the man, and next thing you know, and guys, I've always made this statement, and Jason, you've heard me say it before. What have you done for me lately?
Right.
You know, you can have won 5 state championships, national championships, but what have you done for me lately? Let's flip the page and talk about Nick Saban. What have you done for me lately? And you know what? The sucker's still in the thick of the race.
Yeah.
But everybody was ready to fire his ass because all of a sudden Nick became a terrible coach because he got beat by Texas in the first game of the season.
Yeah.
Guys, you know, but that's what our society is. What have you done for me lately? And boy, they're easy to forget. They quickly forget
which is
all
insane.
The successes.
Yeah, because you look at both of them, you know, and I've been on both sides to where, you know, hey, I liked what Dabo said here. I didn't like what Dabo said here. But one of the things I did like, you know, the kid did bring up a point where, you know, why are we paying you $10.5 million to go 4-4? He goes, look, everyone's going to have a bad year every once in a while. We went 12 years of 11 plus wins. Only Alabama, Georgia, and us have done that. Before that, been 35 years since Clemson won anything. For instance, they had the wrong Bowden there before, not legendary Bobby. Okay, and that's the thing, because Bobby was a legend. Okay, but I can tell you this, you know, I love that I brought up, you know, why are we paying this, you know, and this is a very good point too. And you know, I kind of felt for Dabo on this end. You know what? He did start to coach it. He talked about it. You know, I started right at the bottom. My mother lived with me. You know, he was homeless. You know, she lived with them because they were both homeless. He started with nothing. You know, I respect that kind of stuff. That's why, you know, these you know, these fans, like, Coach, you were 100% right. They forget so quickly. You know, you look at Clemson and the amount of success that they've had, Alabama, the amount of success that they have had, and you're just going to just outlandishly call out a coach like that. I just don't. You know, it's like, you know what, buddy? I got news for you. There's a lot of teams out there, that's a lot of schools and a lot of universities would like to make a lot of money that your coach made. Your coach made you a lot of money. You know,
well, exactly, buddy, because that's, you know, how much money has Dabo made for that institution?
Millions, and it's
far more than they're paying him.
Oh, hell yeah. And it's just like the fans just forget that. And that's why, and I've had numerous and where, it's not popular. I'm not a clickbait guy. I'm always pushing more positive than I am negative, but I'm negative when I need to be. But I tell people, as a fan, even though your team's doing bad, you can make adjustments after the year and complain, but support the team as the season goes on because those players are still busting their ass. It's not like they're out going out there to lose. These are the top 1%. The top 1% of high school players go to college. That's it. Power 5 football. It's hard to win in college football. And now NIL, where you're able to really, really negotiate and pay players, the parity in college football has aligned. It is now amazing to watch some of these games when you just don't know who's going to win. So as a coach and a player, it comes down to even more critical. It is truly about the inches in the football game. It's about the critical mistakes. So you look at it. It's a shame to see fans just turn on people like that, where, especially as a Clemson fan, you were nothing 20 years ago, 10 years ago. Now you look at Dabo Swinney, who's revived that program and made them an actual national brand. I mean, there should be a little bit of appreciation. Your school,
I think there is appreciation, though. I think there's appreciation, JJ. I think that there's a point, though, that when you start, hey, look, when you build a standard and you say that the standard is the standard in what you're supposed to go do, then it's up to you as a coach to evolve to continue with the standard as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not willing to do that right now. And that's
but that's where, and we talked about this again last week too.
Yeah.
That's where his administration needs to call him in and say, Dabo, you're going to have to change. You're going to have to change with the times. We appreciate everything that you have done here. And we want to continue to appreciate everything that you're going to do moving forward. But you're going to have to jump into the portal. You're going to have to do these things to change, because if you don't, you're going to be a dinosaur in college football. And we don't want that for this institution. We don't want that for you. But you've got to make a decision if you want to continue to do that. And guys, he's won enough there. He's got enough chips built up.
Sure. Look, they're not going to fire me.
I'm all in, or you know what? I need to take my chips and go home.
And that's the thing. That's where I'm at on it too. Is if you care about that program and you care about what you've done there, don't hang around and screw it all up before you leave. Don't be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And to me, that's where I have a problem. Is I'm watching him dig his heels in here and refuse to do anything. Yeah, Gary Patterson stayed too long at TCU. Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. And he shouldn't have. And look, there gets to be a point where you think that you're higher than what you are and that you can do no wrong. And I'm not saying that Gary wasn't a great coach, because he was a hell of a coach. He got to a point, though, where things were not, it was getting stale. I don't think that it's necessarily getting stale. I think that what you have to do, it's not even just the NIL stuff or any of that other stuff. The fact that you bring in a guy and you pay him the most money of a coordinator in the country, and you don't let him do his thing.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
He's running Clemson's offense, not his offense.
You don't want to use the portal at all. And don't get me wrong, I have my own issues with the portal in some ways as well. That's another thing. It's another bell you're not unringing, though.
Well, and I agree with you.
So go get the guys you need to get to stay competitive. For you to let a guy like, hey.
But here's, and I don't know that it happened or didn't happen, but here's an interesting question to that. When he went in and talked to Dabo about the coordinator's job, do you think that conversation was had about, are you going to really allow me to run my offense?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that occurred, guys.
I don't think it did either.
I think Dabo is a straight up guy that I think if he told him he's going to let him run his offense, I think he'd have let him do that. I don't think, and again, I wasn't there. I don't know. I'm not sure any of us will ever know. But I don't think that conversation was had. And as a guy that's going into a program, whether you're offense coordinator, defense coordinator, whatever, you need to have that conversation with the head coach. Because I know one dang thing. If I was going in there and he told me, well, you're gonna have to run my offense, I said, Coach, I really appreciate you having me here today and letting me visit with you, but I'm not interested in that. But because right now this is going on offense between the old Clemson offense and what needs to be run or wants to be run. So I have a question mark about that.
And I agree, Coach. And what's funny is you talk about that friction. That friction can cause what seasons that we're seeing now. You know, you can have as much talent as you want, but if the coaching staff is battling each other behind closed doors, what to run, what not to run, then the players get involved. You start having those questions. You know what? What's our standard? What's our culture? You know, we're a family. And I said it in my previous show. I said a family. I said it stands for something. I said family stands for forget about me. I love you. That's what family stands for. And I said, you're always going to have arguments in families. You're always going to have disagreements, but the collective, coaches love the players and players love the coaches.
Yeah.
I just think that there's a discrepancy right now between the coaching staff and really buying into the process. And I think that like anything else, the greatest coaches make those adjustments to make sure that they're able to win the game and take the ego aside. I just think that Dabo needs to do that.
Yeah. And it creates, like you said, Coach, it creates the great divide. And you have players over here on the left, and you have coaches over here on the left, and then you have players on the right and coaches on the right, and you know, everybody sees it, everybody feels it. I mean, guys, I've been on a staff like that before, and it's like, you know, I don't care what, if you're in a meeting, you feel like you could just slice the air in the room and split it up. But same thing at practices. I mean, everything was just it was just awful, and it does. I mean, and that team that I'm talking about, we won 2 ball games that season, and we had the talent to be successful, but we weren't because of that culture that was going on.